Hello everyone, it's Dawn. Welcome back to my channel. And today, for our Friday project to launch you off into the weekend, we're going to make a gift box. Now I know we've made gift boxes on this channel and this isn't going to be all that different, but I'm using my own collection. This is called the Vintage Collection. Some of it I've designed myself, some of it I've just acquired from papers that I just simply like the look of. For example, this one, I can't remember where it came from, to be honest. I think it was in a magazine, but don't quote me on that. And I've got other photographs and images that I found that I really like. So I've put it together and called it my Vintage Collection, and I keep it all in a plastic envelope or a plastic wallet. So that's how I put some of my, that's one of the ways I create my own collections. So from what I've put together, I'm going to use one sheet of paper, or one of the papers, which I've copied off twice, printed off twice. And we're going to make a 6x6 gift box, but we're going to put a message on the inside and we're going to decorate the lid, but all that will become clear as we go along. So to start off with, you will need 2 pieces of card which measure 8 by 8 inches, and all of these measurements and any other things you might need to know will be in the description box below. Underneath this video there's a little word that says more. Just click on the word more and it'll drop down and you'll see everything you need to know to make this. So 8 by 8. And you need to score it. I've done all the scoring just to save a bit of time, really. So you will need to score it at 1 inch on all 4 sides. So 8 inches, and you score it at 1 inch on all 4 sides. And then if you can find one, there it is, right in front of me. That's why I couldn't find it. You take a pair of scissors and you just cut along the score line, but only up to the first score line, or up to the score line. Don't go past it, or the thing won't go together. And you're going to do that on all 4 corners. So we're just going to turn this around. We'll do this together in real time for any newcomers to crafting that haven't made boxes before or not made them this way. And what we're also going to do is so that the box stays flat when we put it together, we're just going to cut out a little wedge, just a tiny triangle like that. So we're just, maybe even smaller than that, just a tiny triangle, just so that when we put it together, it stays flat. So we're going to do that again. There, cut it down there. Now you might see that there's a bit of overhang, but this is vintage, so it doesn't really matter. And once it's all put together, that bit won't show. So I'm just going to very quickly flip that round, and we're going to do exactly the same to the other 2 tabs. So we'll just quickly cut that down. Just take that little bit out. One more to do, doesn't take long. So just cut down to where the fold lines meet, or the score lines meet. And then for now, I'm just going to sweep those bits to one side. If they fall on the floor, then they fall on the floor. And once you've done that, you'll have a piece that looks like that. Now I'm going to turn mine over. If you want to put paper on both of your, this is just white cardstock, which I've glued my paper to. If you want to decorate both sides with paper, you can. I'm just going to do one, just to make life a little bit easier. And all you need to do is just fold in the score lines, fold along the score lines, I should say, including the tabs. These are the tabs that put the whole thing together, for those that might not have seen it before. And I have got things sticking to my jumper, so we'll just see if we can get rid of them. Sorry about that. Get it off. So, right, well, I'll try and stay over this side so that I don't get things stuck to my jumper. So that's what happens when you prepare things and put them right by you. Everything gets stuck to you. So we're just going to just put it down, fold it down and give it a good burnish. If you want to use the back of a ruler or your scoring tool or your bone folder or even the back of a teaspoon, you can. I tend not to do that. I tend to just use my fingers. Fingers were invented before tools, so I'm quite happy with that. But if you want to use your tools or your bone folder or anything else you use to burnish, that's absolutely fine. Your crafting, your product, do it how you want. So the next thing we need to do is we need to add some glue. Now, what I was going to do, I was going to bring down, excuse me, 1 second. If I can find it very quickly, and I can, it's in my little sheep down here. If you saw me do my video tour, you'll have seen my little sheep where I keep my tools. That's what I'm looking for. So what we're going to do, this is how I always do it. we're going to add some double-sided tape. Oh, let's do one, you know what, let's do one side at a time. This will give an instant stick, but if you're going to make a box, especially if you want it to last, don't rely on the tape. This will just make it stick instantly. And I'm going to use some craft glue. This is my Creative Crafts craft glue. And we'll just put a blob of glue, bring it up, bring the two sides up so that the tab just tucks and that corner meets the tab. So if we bring it up like that and then give it a squeeze. Now, if you've never made these before and you think, oh, I want to do this quick, I think I'll do it with hot glue, please don't. Because hot glue, there are a couple of problems with making boxes with hot glue. Yes, it's strong. Yes, it will stick very quickly, but it's not always terribly flat. So if you don't get it together if you don't put it together quite fast, it will dry or semi-dry and it'll end up lumpy and knobbly. So I would use craft glue because it'll give you more time. It'll give you time to get things into place, especially if you're new to box making. Of course, if you're an old hand like me, you can use whatever you find easiest or most convenient. I still do it this way. I still use my tape runner for that instant stick, but then I put my glue. I use my glue to make it more permanent. So we're just going to hold that just a second or two longer. And there you have a beautiful box. Now, I did say we were going to put a sentiment on the inside. And if I can find it, oh, there we go. So I've used one of my sentiments from the pack, which says, wishing you joy on your special day. Now, I've done this because I've been doing calligraphy since I was, goodness knows how long, a teenager, I think I was, when I started it. I went to one of those schools where they teach you calligraphy, and it sort of stayed with me. But if you've got a stamp, if you've got some stamped images or even die-cut images, or sentiments that you prefer to do, that's fine. Do it the way you want to do it. It's your box, it's your product, do it how you like. So I'm going to do this. I rather enjoy doing calligraphy. I find it quite therapeutic. I know some people find it boring, some people find it too time consuming, but I quite like it. So I've backed it onto a piece of blue card, and you'll see why I've done that when we go to do the top with the box lid, which we'll do in just a second. So we need this to stay in the bottom. So we'll pop that down there for a moment. And we're going to pop that. Again, if you use glue, you can use tape to put this down if you want to, but if you use glue, you've got a bit more time, which is rather nice. So when your recipient takes out their gift, they can still see that lovely sentiment, which I think is really nice. It's something just a little bit extra for your recipient to see. So, and of course, if you're making your products to sell, whether you sell them on a website, whether you've got a business, whether if you like to sell them at craft fairs, if you sell them on Etsy or any other platform, doing something like this, not every box will have this. So you'll be making something or selling something that other people perhaps aren't doing. So that will be good for your sales. So I'm going to pop that in the corner of the screen there. Because then what we do, we make the lid in exactly the same way. The only difference is we glue it up and we line it up. The only difference is I used a hole, no, I didn't use a hole punch. I used an inch wide paper punch, and I just put it over half to pop in the, what are these things called? Finger lifts, that's the word. Finger lifts. And so that will sit there. So what we do now, moment of truth. This is always the moment of truth when you make a box. Even when you've been very careful with your scoring and measuring, you're thinking, is the lid going to fit? Hopefully it will. So, although my glue's not quite dry yet, so it might still be bubbling, but we should be okay. Yes, I think we're okay. If we can persuade that to tuck under there, we're okay. Hey! So that fits beautifully. So what we're going to do now, we're going to use other elements from my vintage collection, and we're going to decorate the top. So right, I'll just put that out of the way. That's the red runner tape because I don't want it anymore. So we're going to use, oh, I'd forgotten we're going to use an embossing folder. Now this, I think it's a John Next Door. It came from a box set, and I'm almost sure it came from a John Next Door. And it's got some lovely clocks on it. So, but I like those clocks because it's got that lovely vintage feel to it. And again, I've backed it on a piece of blue. And on the back, I've got some double-sided tape. And today when I went shopping, I brought some more double-sided tape. So we're doing okay. I was down to my last roll, literally. And I thought, oh my goodness. But I went into the works, good old works. I actually went in there to get some wool to do some knitting for a new customer who wants one of my convertible toys. But she wants hers different. Of course, she wants a teddy bear that turns into a white elephant, as you do. And I thought, well, why not? And while I was in there looking for the wool, I came across some more double-sided tape, rolls of double-sided tape. So I raided their store. So anyway, back to the project. We've got this. Now, the box is a 6x6. The mat is about a 5x5. No, it's not. It's a 5.5 by 5.5. And the embossing folder was a 5x5. So I will put all these measurements in the description box, but you don't have to use these measurements. In fact, you don't have to use a backing tape. You don't have to use an embossing folder. These are just ideas. You can use whatever you like. You can use some more pattern paper. You can use some plain card. You can use mirror card, but without the embossing. Use what you like. These are just ideas to give you a bit of a heads up on how I do things, and perhaps maybe some ideas of how you might do things. So I've now got my image to put on the front. Now, this is a photograph from my photo library, which seems to be growing almost by the day, which is why I chose blue, because blue seems to be the theme of my photograph. So I printed that out. I love that vintage style peeled paint with that gorgeous wreath on it. And so I've backed it again on blue. It's going to be difficult to give measurements because obviously your images are going to be different. So just cut it out and then make your frame however deep you want it, or narrow. You might want it even narrower. Maybe you want it deeper. Maybe you want different colours. It's up to you completely. Just use this as a guide and then do things the way you like to do them. So as we say, do it your way. Use what you've got. We always say that on this channel. But I always say it because I still get comments saying, oh, can I do this because I haven't got what you've used? Yes, of course you can. Use what you've got. We always say that. I think that's going to be our mantra. Use what you've got. And for the final piece, I've done in calligraphy. It says just for you. Now, when I put the glue down, it actually did tear the paper, but I don't mind because we're doing a vintage style. I actually don't mind that torn, slightly worn, because it sort of adds to the feel. So I'm going to overlap that like that. I've got that on foam tape this time. That's on foam tape as well. So these again, just to give you some ideas. And we pop that down like that. And there you go. Let me just shove my scissors out of the way, or push my scissors out of the way, I should say. Where we have a beautiful gift box. Very easy to make, very quick. Once you've done all the cutting and measuring, it'll go together in minutes. So then what you do, you take off your lid, and inside you've got wishing you joy on your special day, or whatever sentiment you decide to put inside. What you put is actually, it depends on what occasion you're giving the gift for. So if it's a birthday, you could just put a simple happy birthday, or if it's an anniversary, happy anniversary. Or Father's Day, that's coming up in June, happy Father's Day. We could dress this up and make it a Christmas box. You could make it Merry Christmas. So once you've got the basics, you can make this however you like. You can decorate it however you like, put whatever sentiments you like. So this is just a way, or just a guide really, of how I do my things, how I create my designs, and to give you a good guide and to encourage you to go ahead and use what you've got and make your own. And of course, as always, if you do make one of these boxes, we'd love to see you over on our Crafty Capers with Dawn Facebook group. So just ask to be find on Facebook you'll find Crafty Capers with Dawn in the groups. Ask to be approved. I will approve you, and you'll be in, and you can share your designs and comment on other people's. But we have a positive policy, so everyone will give you kind comments, and they're a smashing group, they really are. So do come and join us and show us what you do. And I wish you a happy weekend. Have a good weekend. And I will be back on Tuesday now with another project for you. So until then, have fun everybody, take care, and as always, happy crafting. Bye bye for now.